you're here for some challenging yoga, because that's what I'm hoping to offer for the next little bit of time that we're together. So we're just going to get right at it. Come to the front of your mat and spread out your toes, lift them up tall. I'm assuming that anyone who is wanting to go along on this journey either has quite a bit of yoga experience or is going to just be modifying a lot and perhaps has some knowledge about how to do that for themselves. So part of that knowledge about yourself includes knowing about breath and how to be paying attention to it. So I'm going to request that everyone pays a lot of attention to your need to inhale and exhale and really help that support your whole practice today. So you can bring your thumbs to your sternum and just feel your breath lifting your chest up into your thumbs as you inhale and emptying out, letting your thumbs drop down with the exhale. Another inhale. And then on an exhale, let your hands drop down and then take your arms up overhead, press them into each other up top and then down to the floor. Shake your head out, take your right foot to the back of the mat. So bring your left shin forward, right heel back, strongly activating your back leg. Breathing here. And then back to downward dog as you empty. Coming forward to high plank. Feel free to modify something a little more low key. If you're ready for chaturanga right away, then you're just going to do that. Lowering down. And then rising to upward dog or a cobra. Moving back, downward dog. Take your right leg high for three-legged dog. Lifting your toes away from your fingers. And then at one time, you're going to bring your right leg all the way up to the front. Left leg up to the front. Fill up with air and fold over. Take it high on your inhale, standing tall. Exhale, hands down the center line. And then up again. Folding over. Now we'll start with the left foot back. Again, really energetically lengthening everything in your lunge. And then turning that same sense of energy into downward dog. And inhale, pulls your shoulders forward until they're right over your wrists. Scoot your toes back so you can make a straight line from your shoulders to your heels. And on an exhale, lowering to the low push-up. And lifting upward dog. Pulling your hips back on the exhale. And then let your left heel raise far away from your hands. And then bring it forward between your hands. And the right foot coming forward as well. Folding over, emptying out. As you fill up, you come tall. And once again, find your center. Maybe your eyelids drop. And eyelid lift as your fingers do. Folding over, fingertips to the floor. Right foot back. Keep your right hand grounded down and just take a few circles here. Twisting toward your left knee. And then go the other way. Bringing your arm forward. And next time your hand's down by your foot, keep it there. Slide back to downward dog. Empty completely. Press your heels toward the floor. Lift your sit bones away from your heels. Press your hands into the floor. Lift your sit bones away from your hands. And sometime when you're ready to fill up, take it forward to high plank and lower. To the low push-up or the floor, cobra or upward dog, filling up. Emptying as you move back to downward dog again. And then right foot high, three-legged dog. Let's bend the upper knee and just make some circles this time in both directions. Finding out what your hip joint can do. And then at some point, bringing your foot to the front. Leaving your hand down so you can do the twisting arm circles on this side. And then switching it up, moving your arm in the other direction. by your foot again, leave it there. Bring your back foot up to the front. Lift up your toes, fill up. Let everything drop down. And then stand up, breathing in. Hands down the center. You might be touching your third eye center and your heart center as you go down. Hands overhead. Folding over, fingertips to the floor. Take your left foot back again. And let your knee come down, rise up, small back bend. And then take a twist over toward your right knee, left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Gazing over, tuck your back toes and lift your back knee for the full twist. You can keep it down if you want to, of course. Breathing here. And then undoing the twist, planting your back heel, opening to warrior two. So right heel, or right shin rather, reaches forward, left outer ankle pulls back. You can do the same thing with your hands, reaching your fingertips away from each other. Feel your sit bones heavy, shoulder blades heavy, crown of your head light. So from the center line, things are pressing out, and then in your center line, things are moving up and down. A couple more breaths here, experiencing all that stuff going on inside. You might not notice movement on the outside at all. And then windmill to the floor. Right foot back. Downward dog. Shoulders sliding forward over the wrists. Lowering. Rising. Breathing in, opening your front. And opening your back as you exhale. Pulling back to downward dog. And then let your left leg come high. Bring it forward. Let your right knee come down, come up for the lunge. A little back bend here. And then take the twist toward your left knee, right elbow coming on the outside. Keep your knee down or tuck your toes and lift your knee back. Back knee up. Keeping your right leg really active. A few breaths. Seeing what this pose can do for you. And then letting your right heel come down, come into warrior two. On this side, again, making adjustments so that your knee stacks over your ankle in the front, shin pressing forward with your left hand, and then the right outer ankle reaches back as the right hand reaches back. And from your waist down, your hips are heavy. Your waist up, your rib cage and the crown of your head are light. Feel yourself standing on your 2 feet. And whenever you like, windmill to the floor and bring the back foot up to the front. Fill up with air, lift up your toes. Exhale. Folding forward. And the next time you're filling up, stand up. Hands down the center. Let's keep it moving. So fingertips rise again, eyelids rise if you dropped them. And then back to the floor. Take your left foot to the back now. And hop your toes out to the left side, ground your heel for warrior one. So your outer back ankle is actively reaching back. Front shin actively reaching forward. Fingertips light, shoulder blades heavy. And your gaze is straight ahead. Again, just breath flowing in to this huge space you created in your rib cage with your lifted arms. You can be thinking about using your core muscles to take your left hip a little more to the front, right hip a little more to the back, if you can. And maybe a little back bend. You can take your left thumb into the webbing between your right thumb and forefinger. Slight back bend here. And then take your arms out to the floor. Right leg slides back, downward dog. Breathing in as you come forward, breathing out as you lower, breathing in as you rise, breathing out as you move back to downward dog. And then on some inhale, your left leg lifts high and comes forward. Now your right toes go out to the right side, rounding down. Press while you can look at it. See your inner ankle lifting away from the floor, outer ankle reaching back. Check in with your front shin. Pull it forward. So the lower body now is all set, and you can concentrate on the upper body, right side ribs and hip coming forward, left side ribs and hip moving back to the degree that works for you. Again, feel like you're standing on your feet, especially your back foot. If you want to now, the right thumb can go into the webbing of the left hand, and slight back bend. So open your arms around, circle them down, bring your back foot up to the front, and once again, lifting up your toes. On your exhale, fold forward, and on your inhale, stand yourself tall. Hands down the center. So now you're probably warm and limbered up a little bit, so we're going to start to play with a little bit more of challenging poses. So fingers to the floor, and then take your left foot to the back. So this pose is kind of a side plank arm balance mixture. So what you're going to do, again, if you can, modifying as you need to, you're going to take your right hand to the inside of your right foot, and then if you can get your right shin or your right shoulder underneath your knee, you're going to do that. So tucking your shoulder underneath. So this is step A. Step B is you press your hands into the floor and kind of lift your foot off. If you can do that, then you'll come to the next step, which is rounding your back foot so you come onto the big toe side of your foot. If you've got that, you're going to start to move weight into your right hand out of your left hand. So start moving over to that side plank. You're going to clamp your right leg onto your right arm, and then you might just be working here, or you can hold onto your foot or your toe and attempt to straighten out your right leg. So working there. It's a big stretch on your left side body as well. So just do what you can. You can stop any time along the way. When you're done, you'll just come back, putting your right foot back on the floor, left hand back on the floor, and then move your hand to the outside of your right leg, back to downward dog. Filling up, emptying out. Building the upper body strength, coming forward for the vinyasa, lowering with control, lifting, opening your front, moving back to downward dog. And then you'll be able to see it on the other side. So left leg high, bring it forward, rounding down. So you're in a nice lunge with the left foot out in front, left hand comes on the inside. You might have better or worse luck on this side, so give it a shot. Shoulder underneath your knee, and your hand is on the outside of your foot, pinky toe side of your foot. You're going to try to lift up. If you've got that, you're going to ground onto your back heel or your back foot. Start to move the weight out of your right hand, clamping onto your left arm with your left leg. Holding on, I like to hold on to the outside of my foot. You can also try holding the big toe. And either you stay here or straightening the leg. Big stretch on the right rib cage. Visvamitrasana. And then bending, bringing your foot back to the floor. Left hand comes out from underneath and around and back to downward dog. So that's just kind of a fun little exploration that has benefits even if you stop just with your shoulder under your knee. So let's slide it forward again, lowering to the floor, rising up and back, downward dog. Breathing here, a few breaths, catching up. Now let's take the right leg high and bring it forward. So now we're going to kind of take a challenging thing going on the outside of your leg. So you're just going to let your left heel come down, coming up again for warrior two. Let's take a reverse warrior before we go to side angle. So bringing your right elbow in, left fingertips reaching away from your outer left ankle. And then bring your hand around for a half bind. So some people might just stop here. Some people are going to reach underneath and get the full bind, maybe with a strap. Maybe you'll stay here. Otherwise, you're going to look down at the floor and start to take your back foot, your left foot, up toward the front of the mat. So I've got my bind behind. I'm spreading out my toes on my left foot, which is the one I'm going to be standing on, and I shift weight over to my left foot. So you can just stay here. You can start to take your right toes off the floor, gazing down and standing up. As you come to standing, shift your gaze to something out in front of you. So you might stay here. If you have the hamstring flexibility, you can try straightening out your right leg for bird of paradise. Breathing here, pressing into your standing leg. Again, you can be stopping anywhere along the way and getting a lot of benefit. Bring your foot back down, releasing the pose. If you were anywhere along the way, bring your left foot up to the front and we'll take the forward fold together. Exhaling. And using an in-breath to stand tall, making more room for air. Exhale, hands down the center. And then reaching up again. Fingertips to the floor. Take your right foot to the back of the mat, so now your left foot's out in front. Again, you'll be able to see this on the other side. Round your heel down in the back. Coming up, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Lengthening the left side. Coming for side angle. Lengthening your right side. And then taking your right hand up and around for the half bind. Maybe you reach under with a strap or just your hands connecting. Taking the full bind. You can stay here. If you're moving forward, I recommend gazing down so you can bring your back foot up to meet the front foot. Preparing it to bear your weight, so spreading out the toes. Shift your weight over to your right foot. Keep the gaze down as you take your left foot off the floor. Then as you stand tall, if you get all the way up, take your gaze with you and look at something out in front. Just pressing into your standing leg, option to straighten your left leg. Bird of paradise on the other side. Breathing here. And then coming out, both foot to the floor, hands releasing down. Again, if you were in the back, bring your right foot up around and join us in the forward fold. This time, before you stand up tall, bring your feet quite close to each other, as comfortable as you can be, and stand up. Breathing in. Hands together overhead. Keep them up there as you bend into a chair pose. Bring your hands to your heart. We're going to twist over to the left, right elbow on the outside of your left knee. If you find that your right knee slides forward, see if you can pull it back in line with your other knee as you're here. So you can stay in the twisted chair pose, or you can use this as a way to get into twisted crow, side crow. If you're going to join me in side crow, you're going to lift your heels off the floor, put your right hand down, and then whatever angle your hand lands on the floor, you'll just mirror that with your left hand. Lift up and start to lean into your right upper arm. You can just stay like that, working on building the upper body strength. If you have the chaturanga strength, you can bend your arms into the chaturanga shape, and it might be that your feet can lift off the floor. You can either be resting just on your right upper arm, or maybe you let your hip drop onto your left upper arm, in which case you can try straightening out your legs. Breathing there. So again, stopping anywhere along the way, coming back, and we'll be finding ourselves back in the twisted chair pose. Rising up. If you want the real challenge, you'll stay in chair before you go to the other side. If you were in chair that whole time and didn't take the crow, you probably want to straighten up or take a forward fold. In any case, now we're all going to go over to the left side, left elbow out rather, and going to the right. Try to keep your knees in line with each other. And twisting. Staying with this. Or dropping down, preparing for cycle on the other side. Breathing in. And staying on one arm, your left upper arm. Or dropping your right hip onto your right upper arm, which would allow you to straighten your legs out. Playing with the balance there. Big twist. Coming back. Finding your twisted chair pose. And then let's all stand up tall. Hands down the center. Pause at your heart for just a moment. Again, feeling your chest rising into your thumbs. Dropping back. If you did all of that with me, you might feel your heart pumping underneath your thumbs as well. It's kind of fun to know that just on this little circle, you can really get a good bit of cardiovascular challenge as well. So one of these exhales, let your hands drop down. One of these inhales, as your fingers lift, your eyes can too. Folding over. And let's take the right foot to the back. So hop your toes out to the right side. Stay on your toes. Come up. Let's go right to the little bit of a back bend. Right hand, right thumb in left webbing. So you're pulling your right arm up, getting a little extra stretch in the right front hip. If you feel tippy, you can walk your left foot over to the pinky toe side, widening your stance. Keep the back leg active, lifting. And now take your arms around behind, clasping your hands if you can, lifting your hands up as your leg also lifts. Maybe your gaze lifts if you feel stable. Breathing into the big open chest you've created. And sometime when you're breathing out, bowing down. On or inside of your front thigh. Knuckles lifting as much as your shoulders allow. And we're going to move back and forth with your inhale and exhale. So inhale, coming up, maybe gazing up. Exhale, dropping down. Inhale, rising. Exhale, over you go. One more time on an inhale, coming up. And exhaling to lower. When you're down like this now, take your hands to the inside. And again, shin forward, heel back. Staying there for a moment. And then coming down onto your forearms if you can. Maybe you need a block under your forearms, that's fine. Tuck your chin down and open up the back of your neck. Press your heel back. And maybe you find a little bit of movement here. I feel it opening up in my left hip a lot when I move around like this. And then come back up onto your hands. I'm going to take a little cushioning under my right knee. And we're going to take a quad stretch here. So allow your hips to sink down. And I'm going to reach around with my right hand. It's a little less intense if you reach with the opposite hand, so feel free to do that if the right hand doesn't work, and or grab a strap. So lift up your back knee and move it back a little bit more. So when you bend your back leg, you're on the spot right above your kneecap, not on your kneecap. Reaching around, holding onto your foot. First, press into your foot, activating your quad muscle, making it work, like you're trying to straighten your leg, but your hand isn't letting you. And then release that effort and bring your heel in